Went on saying that she was doing fine in school, but Christmas was not the same anymore since her father passed away, and she missed me terribly. She then talked about our time together. We went out and we talked about especially the future. Anne mentioned that it was cold there and that they had some snow several days after Christmas, just enough to make it messy driving. Since then, she took the rest of the letter telling me to write. She was also concerned about not hearing from me. She wondered, she ended up by saying, I love you very much, still thought about me a great deal, and wanted to make a life with me after the war. Her last sentences were, please write, I love you very much. Did you ever write?
What?
Did you ever write to Anne?
The what?
You got a couple letters from Anne. Did you ever return the letters? Did you ever write to her? Did you ever write to Anne?
No.
No, okay. All right. I sat back and held the letter open in front of me. Anne did not deserve this treatment. What I was doing was abominable and detestable. My only defense was, what letter, what should I tell her? Yes, we are making a life together and live happily ever after, or could I say that now to tell her that I could not when I was face to face with her? And so several weeks ago, I had not resolved my dilemma. Although I had, what with Renee seeking a higher calling, and I was reverting to my former inclination, I did not want to think about ramifications that her decision entailed. Or to more important conundrum, why had I chosen Renee over Anne and Jean? It was not spur-of-the-moment decision, nor was it calculated, thought-out process. It had just evolved, and one day it was there in all its richness and elegance. Anne's other letter, dated a week later, was of the same texture. She was disturbed from not hearing from me, and she was more anxious as the papers and the radio were filled with German offensive. The Battle of Bulge was on the verge of thinking the worst, and maybe that was the least cruel way to end our relationship. She ended in the same way as the last letter. Please write, I love you. I folded the letters slowly, inserting them in the envelopes. I laid them on a table, and I thought how Anne looked at the end of the time we spent together at the picnic, the moments we spent overlooking the lights of Evansville, anticipating the time I would be seeing her again. Also, our last few days together, and we're never really got to say goodbye. It all seemed so far in distance as it happened to another person. I could relate to all of it, but somehow the emotional impact had disappeared, not in imaginary but in substance. I believed I loved Anne, but questioned whether the love was sustainable. I then thought of Renee and how it was making her susceptible to all kinds of feelings and responses, and getting occasionally emotionally involved with me. In the light of her revealing her religious vocation, perhaps I should not see her again. I opened Jean's letter, and the one dated the earliest after Christmas had a photo of her entire family and a Christmas tree. Her mother and dad were dressed in finery, and Jean was wearing a red dress, and she wore it to dance. Do you still have that picture?
Yeah.
Where's that picture?
Oh, who knows? Who knows? Where's the picture of me?
Yeah.
I wrapped up in the towel.
Yeah.
And then where'd that go?
She looked elegant, and I just kept gazing at the photo and was completely touched by her sincerity. She looked elegant, and I was just kept gazing at the photo, was completely touched by her sincerity and goodwill. Here again, I vacillated with my emotions, not knowing which way to turn. I had infringed on the goodwill and was beholden to them immeasurably. Yet I had betrayed them also. Jean began to say, I hope you are well. She then went on about the news being saturated with the Battle of the Bulge and how the Germans were succeeding with their offensive. She understood why I had not written, but I would appreciate a word or two saying that all is right. Her mother and dad worried about me, and her dad would listen to the news on the BBC. She mentioned the fact that the two divisions of 106th and the 75th were the newest division sent overseas, were in the thick of it, and the casualties were extremely high. We are all praying for you, and then she wanted to say, and look forward to your safe return. We are all praying for you, and she wanted to say, and look forward to your safe return. She mentioned more about the news from the Andres, more than we were aware of in reading in Stars and Stripes. She closed by saying that she loved me and missed me very much. The other letter, dated several weeks later, talked about the success of the Allied armies thwarting the German attack at the Ardennes. She was alarmed at the high rate of casualties suffered by our troops and worried about my safety. She again asked me to write as soon as possible so I might know the situation. Again, she closed by saying how much she missed me and how desolate everything seemed since I have left. She printed the words, "I love you," in large bold letters and signed it. I sat back looking at the photo, realizing how fortunate I was to have someone to care about me to that extent. I was moved by it all, and it was a certain only one thing. I was not worthy of any of it. I folded the letters, tucked them in my field jacket, along with Anne's, sat there and mesmerized by the totality of it all. I thought Renee again, sitting in the parlor in a reverend-like silence. We must have been thinking of the instance, but she had feelings of irresolution and uncertainty. I think not. Did she vacillate in indecisions and weakness? I think not. She was not capricious and timid in her beliefs and her desires. Herewith lay the answer. I rationalized I could not do what I was incapable of doing. You got a pen and I'll mark it off?
Yeah. Okay.
I'll mark it off right here.
Okay. Anything else?
No, you've got to shut it down for now.